Hello and welcome, my name is Haas, and this is a bit of a different video. Anyone that has seen a number of my videos in the past will likely be aware that I'm a big fan of MMORPGs. And with that in mind, let's have a little talk, shall we? For those that may be unaware, there's quite a few exciting MMOs coming up. To name two I want to discuss in detail, there's first of all the completely new science fiction IP called Wildstar. And then there is the fantasy MMO from the big Elder Scrolls franchise, The Elder Scrolls Online. Both games have very recently announced their plans for their business models, and in both cases these have been met with very mixed responses. But are those responses justified? Or maybe, just maybe, people are overreacting a little bit and everything will be fine? Well, let's start with Wildstar. Wildstar will have a subscription-based model, and you will have to open your wallet for this, except not always. For starters, you first have to buy the actual game. The box will set you back about $60. This will also give you 30 days of playtime and a few guest passes. Certainly not cheap for what is essentially but 1 month, but it is pretty standard so far. Wildstar then gives you two options after your initial month has run out. Either you continue paying $15 every month, or you buy something they call CRED, which stands for Certificate of Research, Exploration, Destruction and Development. This is an item that, when consumed, grants your account 30 days of subscription time. If this sounds familiar, you may have played EVE Online, which uses a very similar system, and no doubt Wildstar has been heavily inspired by this actual system. Of course, we don't know how long it will take to earn cred, but presumably you'll have to invest a ton of time. Taking EVE Online as an example, it is possible to play it entirely for free, but this will require a ton of investment. And presumably in Wildstar, the economy won't be as intertwined. So I find it highly doubtful you can play the game completely for free, but until we know more details, it is of course up in the air. Cred itself can also be bought for $20, and of course then there is also the option of buying this and selling it for in-game money if you desperately want an item or something along those lines. In all likelihood, this does not mean you can play the game for free. Rather, I think it is more likely Wildstar will be a regular subscription-based game where every now and then you can earn a free month with your in-game cash. Now then, The Elder Scrolls Online. The Elder Scrolls Online will require a box purchase as well, priced consistently with premium AAA games, according to their support page, which will then too include 30 days of playtime. After that time has run out, you will have to pay $15 every month. Not only that, but ZeniMax confirmed they will include an in-game item shop, using real-world money microtransactions. So, in short, The Elder Scrolls Online will be a pay-to-play game, in addition to featuring microtransactions. Now, this concept has rightfully upset, or at least worried, a lot of people, but these microtransactions are unlikely to be a major deal. Judging by what ZeniMax has said, it is unlikely to be boosts or directly gear, and if this would be the case, they would be double dipping, if not triple dipping. But luckily, they have mentioned that anything in the core game is included within the subscription price. So probably think along the lines of name changes and other such services. Maybe a number of cosmetic items, like, the almighty horse armor. They would of course be out of their mind if they start including actual pay-to-win items, or take away all the fun of gathering the best looking gear by making all of this transaction-based in a subscription-based game. Presuming it is mainly services and possibly the occasional mount, then World of Warcraft, for instance, has basically been doing this for quite some time now. So you are unlikely to have that negative free-to-play stress aspect of worrying about monetization while playing the game, as these purchases are likely to be completely avoidable. But looking at World of Warcraft as an example of success and blatantly copying that process is a road that is of course paved with the corpses of fallen MMOs. Or at the very least, MMOs that have since then gone free-to-play, mostly out of necessity. Going this subscription-based route that both The Elder Scrolls Online and Wildstar seem to be taking, especially in the case of ESO, is a high-risk move, and frankly rather strange in 2013 when we have become so accustomed to free-to-play models. Plenty of which are terrible of course, but there are some really solid success stories here that are much harder to find within subscription-based MMOs. Star Wars: The Old Republic, created by BioWare, LucasArts and EA, was of course one of the biggest MMOs to release in the past few years with a subscription-based model. As many of you are probably aware, that game failed quite hard, with most of their developers being laid off and subscriber numbers dropping by roughly 400,000 after only a number of months after release. There are of course many reasons for this, but I think it is fair to say one of the main reasons was the complete lack of endgame content that seems to happen every time with new MMOs. Star Wars: The Old Republic in particular was a very high quality MMO, being completely voice acted, resulting in it being very difficult to quickly create content for the subscription to be worth it. And if an MMO goes the subscription route, then they are directly hurt for every lost customer. Whereas with free-to-play, this is of course much less of a deal, if not positive in some cases, as it of course requires less maintenance. BioWare believed at the time that going with the subscription-based model allowed them to do what they want and bring out the quality content players were hoping for. Unfortunately, this just never happened, and the game now has been free-to-play for quite some time, which has actually been a successful choice for BioWare and EA. Similarly, DC Universe Online had gone free-to-play with success, Rift had gone free-to-play with great success, and of course games such as Lord of the Rings Online have been doing fantastically in a free-to-play environment. Not to mention, NCSoft, the publisher of Wildstar, have, together with ArenaNet, had success so far with the one-time purchase title Guild Wars 2, that is otherwise following an excellent consumer-friendly free-to-play model. For all intents and purposes, going for a subscription-based model seems silly nowadays. It can definitely work, and hopefully it will in both cases, but it is very risky, and I would not in the slightest be surprised if both Wildstar and Elder Scrolls Online will have to resort to a free-to-play model. EVE Online, of course, has success with subscriptions. World of Warcraft, of course, has had a ton of success with subscriptions. But World of Warcraft is a titan of a game. Pardon the pun. An old god, if you will, of MMORPGs that has a decade of endgame content available. Comparing these two games to the success of World of Warcraft is basically pointless. The fact of the matter is, they are both competing in a very difficult climate, and there are a ton of successful and highly enjoyable free-to-play games around that are in many respects the same. Let's face it, the Elder Scrolls Online, and especially Wildstar, are what are commonly referred to as WoW clones. In fact, Carbine, the developers of Wildstar, have made references to World of Warcraft in the past, and this is by no means a bad thing. These games are looking very promising for a myriad of reasons, but at the end of the day, they are taking a risky route in a genre where finding cheaper alternatives is very easy to do. With that being said, we can only wait and see, but I am skeptical. For now though, my name has been Haas, and I'll see you in the next video.